All right. Shalom. Before we begin this lesson, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who I learned this truth from. They're the real prophets of all Israel today in these end times. And shalom to you brothers on the highways and hedges, giving up your bodies and living sacrifice and teaching the hopeful elect the correct way to salvation. You know, teaching in all honesty, truth and sincerity. Shalom to you brothers, and shalom to you Akwaf that are in order. And shalom to you Israelites scattered abroad that may look like these other nations, but your seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, making you a Hebrew Israelite. Shalom. All right. So this lesson today, I'm going to speak about war, people getting drafted, famine, blackouts, Jacob's trouble, all the things that the Bible speaks about. And I'm going to show you certain scriptures in the Bible that let you know that these things are going to happen, because this was prophesied many, many, many years ago. Okay. This is the time we're in right now. We're in a time where these prophecies are going to come to light, and you're going to see a lot of these things that I'm going to read in the Bible. You're going to see evidence of these things playing out, proven without a shadow of a doubt that we are indeed in the end times. Okay. We're in the end of the end times, should I say. We're right at the door of the kingdom of heaven, which is the new rulership. Okay. Because these psychopaths ruling the world right now are getting ready to be taken out of power. Okay. We're going to start with this precept right here. Okay. Because this shows you that World War III is biblical prophecy, and that's what's coming. As you can see in the news today, you can see that tensions are brewing up between different countries, okay? And you got little wars here and there popping off, proving that we're at the end times, okay? And proving that the Bible is 100% true for all you scoffers out there and unbelievers, all right? It's Revelations 11, and I'm going to start verse 14. Or I'm going to read verse 14, and it says, "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." So when it talks about woe, that means death and destruction. Okay, so the First World War was the first woe. The Second World War is the second woe. And it's saying here, the second woe is past, meaning the Second World War. And it's saying that the third woe, meaning the Third World War, which is the final war, the war to end all wars, the third woe is coming quickly. So it wasn't too long ago we had World War II, and now we're already on the verge of World War III, and there will be a World War III. We've been prophesying about this for many, many years, okay? Because the Lord always sends his prophets before destruction to give everyone a fair shot at salvation. And when I say everyone, I mean those of the nation of Israel. Now, I did mention that there is going to be a draft, and the Bible prophesies that a lot of people will die in this draft. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and play you a few clips. Now, the first clip I'm going to play, you all know about that incident between Zelensky and Trump in the Oval Office, I believe it was. And they had that disagreement. They were fighting, basically. They had a falling out.
Even you, but you have nice souls and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You
God
don't
bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're
doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good. We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position.
And this is another interview with Zelensky. And this is what he has to say. And it's real short, but I'm going to play it twice but pay attention. Check it out.
U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war, and they will have to fight because it's nature that we're talking about, and they will be dying.
So as you just saw, Zelensky is telling that America will have to send their children to war, you know, and America believes that they won't see the loss of children, but they will. They will, because, you know, the Lord resists the proud, and the rulers of this world, being the nation of Edom, that is a very proud nation of people. So the Lord is going to humble them greatly because they underestimate the power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Now I'm going to play this clip one more time just so you know, get a clear understanding as to what he's saying, because he's saying that America will have to send their people to war just like Ukraine did. They were snatching people off the streets in vans, sending them straight off into the front lines, and they were dying at crazy numbers. And this is what is going to happen to America.
U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war, and they will have to fight because it's nature that we're talking about, and they will be dying.
You see? All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47. I'm going to start at verse 6. It says, I was wroth with my people, so the Lord was angry with us, the children of Israel, Salakia. All right. It says, I have polluted mine inheritance. We are his inheritance. It says, and given them into thine hand. So the Lord is talking to Esau, Edom. Okay. It says, thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou verily heavily laid thy yoke. Okay. See, it was a very hard bondage under the so-called white man and nation of Edom. All right. But the Lord delivered us to them as our punishment. Now, verse 7 is going into the pride of Esau. And it says, and thou saidst, I shall be a lady forever. And that's talking about America, which is synonymous with Edom. Okay. Because Edom is ruling the whole world from America. America in the scriptures is described as the hammer of the earth. Okay. And America says, I shall be a lady forever, meaning I will always be great. You know, this is the pride of Esau, make America great again. They think they're going to bounce back. It says, so that thou didst not lay these things to heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it, right? Because his latter end is that he shall perish forever. It says in verse 8, therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, America, the land of the free, home of the brave, right? The land full of wastefulness and carelessness, you know? It says, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. So this is what America thinks. And this is what Esau thinks, that he's the top of the world, and there's no one in the world like him, and no one can beat him, basically. It says, I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. So this is what they think. This is what America thinks. But what did Zelensky say? Zelensky said exactly what the Bible says, that you will know the loss of children, right? You will have to send your children off to war. It says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. So you got to get ready for change, because America is not always going to be the hammer of the whole earth, you know? It's not always going to be the land of opportunity. It's over for America. It says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. So this is the pride of Esau. He truly thinks that he's not going to be touched, but he will. All right?
Get ready, Europe. War will now come to Europe. 100% this will happen. Get ready, boys. Now is the time.
And this guy just so happens to be some kind of insider that has information letting you know that this is the time of war. You know, war is coming to America, okay? To the shores of America also, you know? But people will be drafted into a war also, you know, because America is going to have a lot on its plate in these days to come, especially under the Trump administration. Trump is going to get things popping. Now, I'm going to quickly play another video by this same guy because he had a scoffer on his comment board, and this is what he had to say in response.
Oh, this is never ending with the people who is brainwashed about Donald Trump. He just want peace. No, what Donald Trump he is trying to do is to force Europe to keep giving our territory away. Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, the list goes on. It's not about peace. It's about that the United States cannot just give away our territory. And let me just say it very shortly, that you think this is only about Ukraine. You are so wrong in that. I'm sorry. You need to go to Europe and understand what's going on. Not just sit there, oh, everything is fine. We are strong American. We can take everybody by ourselves. United States will very soon be a very lonely country, and we will see how that will go for you guys.
My man just prophesied and didn't even realize it. Because that's exactly what the Bible says, okay? The Bible says that the 10 horns shall hate the whore. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull that up real quick. Check this out. Because he said that America is going to be a very lonely country. So this is the book of Revelations, chapter 17, and I'm going to start at verse 16. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, which is to destroy America with fire. It says, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, shall be fulfilled. So this is the time we're in. The 10 horns is the EU. And the beast is NATO. It says, these shall hate the whore. The whore is America. So all the countries in the EU will turn on America. And this is what you're starting to see happen. And the guy said that America is going to be a very lonely place because he knows and he sees what is going on while the rest of the people are blind. I'm not saying that this guy is in the truth, but he sees more than a lot of other people sees. He sees what is happening according to the Holy Scriptures, although he doesn't understand its prophecy, but he sees the 10 horns hating the whore. It says, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh. So this is what's happening right now because America is being wounded by this BRICS and all the countries are turning on America. America's struggling right now. America's scrambling for resources and making enemies all over the world, man. So they've made America desolate and naked, meaning exposed, right? For being the hammer of the earth, the cancer of the earth, if you will, It says, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So the end game is that America will be nuked by all the countries that possess nuclear weapons. They are all going to shoot their nukes at America. Let me bring out another preset real quick. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 9 and verse 5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." So what this is saying is that all wars in the past were different types of wars. We're in a very technological and nuclear war. This is the age of nuclear war. Okay. Let me read it again. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood." This is how all other wars were fought. It says, "But this," meaning the third woe, the third world war, "but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." Get ready for those nukes, America. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. I'm going to start at verse 12. It says, "Your mother shall be sore confounded." Your mother is the UK. America's mother is the UK. This is where America came from, the UK. It says, "Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed." So the UK will be ashamed of America. This is biblical prophecy, and you're starting to see this happen. It says, "Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert." That's America. It says, "Because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate," meaning America will be wiped out by nuclear fire from coast to coast, and there will not be one survivor in the United States of America. The only ones that are going to survive are the 144,000 men, which is a part of the 1/3 of the nation of Israel. They will be delivered. So you have the 144,000 men, and then you have the rest of the 1/3, which are the men, women, and children. They will be delivered. But everybody else in that country is getting ready for their judgment. It says, "Every one that goeth by Babylon," meaning America, "shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues." So America will be left as a memorial as to what happens when you live ungodly. Okay? Because America is following in the footsteps of Sodom and Gomorrah. Verse 14, it says, "Put yourselves in array against Babylon," meaning America, round about. It says, "All ye that bend the bow," meaning all these countries that possess nuclear weapons. It says, "Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh." And this is what's coming to America, nuclear fire. America will be turned into what the Bible calls the lake of fire, okay? It says, "Shout against her round about, she hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her, as she hath done, do unto her." So the great payback is coming to the shores of America, man, for all the abominations that America has done to the world, okay? This is the book of Revelations, chapter 18. It says, "And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory." So this is what John the Revelator saw. He saw the destruction of America. And it's going to explain this as we read on. It says in verse 2, "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird." So America, this is your future. It says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So all these countries do trade deals with America and have become rich. Okay, hence the reason why they've all thrown up skyscrapers and cities all over the world. Okay, because they've become very technologically advanced and rich through, jumping on board with the beast, man. In verse 4, it says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. So this is when the elect go up into what the Bible calls chariots. Okay, that's how the elect of Israel will be delivered from this destruction. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. So America has done too much, and it's time for America's judgment. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. So America and Esau Edom have to receive double for what they've done in this earth. Okay? So it's going to be overkill for America. America is finished. Finito. Verse 7, it says, how much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. It's basically saying the same thing as I read in the book of Isaiah, where America says that I shall not see the loss of children, and I shall sit as a queen forever. I shall be a lady forever. That's going into the pride of Esau, man. So verse 8, it says, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. Okay, so this is the future of America. America will be hit with many plagues, and in the end, it will be utterly burned with fire. So we're coming into the time of death and mourning and famine, which the Bible calls the time of Jacob's trouble. It is a time such as never has been since the world began or ever will be. I might as well finish this off. Verse 9, it says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, because very far off, people are going to see the smoke of America. The whole country is going to be destroyed. It says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city America, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. What else can bring desolation from coast to coast to America in 1 hour? How can America be utterly burned with fire in 1 hour? You guessed it. Thermonuclear fire, ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles. The Lord's weapons of his indignation are ripe and ready for this day. Let me quickly show you another video proving that America is being ganged up on right now, which is going to fulfill the prophecy of the 10 horns hating the whore that I just read.
There's an emergency European Union summit happening right now due to the U.S. lack of support, due to the U.S. removing military aid and removing intelligence. They are all coming together to see how they can help Ukraine. Zelensky just arrived on the scene, and remember, this is hours after an airstrike from Russia hit Ukraine and hit specifically Zelensky's hometown.
Fortunately, I have some very bad news regarding the Russia-Ukraine war. I need to explain it to you because you need to be prepared. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, yesterday pledged $2 billion of financial assistance aid to Ukraine, as well as, here's the part that's concerning, United Kingdom ground troops to fight in the ongoing battle. United Kingdom is not the only country that has expressed sending ground troops to Ukraine. That would be disastrous, because then what could happen that people have talked about is Article 5 getting invoked in NATO, which states that if one country of NATO is under attack, they all are. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that would be all-out World War III if it was NATO versus Russia and other countries are forced to take sides. Now, the United States has floated around the idea in this new administration of potentially leaving NATO, so therefore, if the United Kingdom wanted to get involved directly, the United States wouldn't have to follow through on the Article 5 invokement. Now, I really hope that Zelensky does not take this deal, because the deal has been offered now by the United Kingdom, but it hasn't necessarily been agreed upon. So you just gotta, stay vigilant and really talk out against these things and say no more aid. We need peace.
So you can see how this is all coming together. Basically, if America was to leave NATO and then America attacked any NATO country, then they're all going to have to gang up on America by default. So the pieces are being put in place right before our eyes. And also he was mentioning how, there's a potential for British troops to be sent to Ukraine, which is, going to lead to a draft, because a lot of British troops will die. So in England, there will be a draft in England too. The UK will have to send, all the troops they can get into this war. And they will do it by means of a draft, okay? So tensions are heating up on all fronts, man. Let me show you another video real quick. Now, before I play this video, let me show you a quick scripture, because this was prophesied that nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And this is what we're seeing. You now got China threatening Australia. So there's beef on all fronts right now. You got a tariff war between America and Canada. It's all happening exactly how the Bible said would happen, man. So check this out. So this is Matthew 24. I'm going to start at verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So this is the time we're living in. We're hearing of wars and rumors of wars. Okay, this is the time we're living in, the time of war. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences." So there'll be food shortage and food insecurity. It says, "and pestilences," which is diseases. Okay, and that started with the C-19, and you got all kinds of other diseases out there. It says, "and earthquakes in diverse places, all these are the beginning of sorrow." So this is just the beginning, man. This is just the beginning. So this is the time we're living in. Let me quickly play this video for you. And I got a couple precepts I want to bring out relating to this afterwards, so check this out.
Threat could be getting very real very quickly. China issued this brazen warning overnight.
No matter if they have 5 eyes or 10 eyes, if they dare harm China's sovereignty, security and development interests, beware of their eyes being poked out and blinded.
It's targeted at the Five Eyes alliance, made up of Australia, the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada and New Zealand.
Point. Australia is part of the nuclear-free South Pacific. And I think that this is actually a great value to the people in Australia. Now, armed with nuclear submarine to be produced locally in Australia, unfortunately, Australia and the Australians will lose that privileged status. Meaning, armed with nuclear submarine, Australia itself will be a target for possible nuclear attacks in the future.
Can I just stop you there? Can I just stop you there, Victor? Australia will be a target for nuclear attack from whom?
You do not need to know whom it will be, but as a logic, No one wants to target any nuclear-free zone, which now includes Australia.
Australia has said it will not be carrying nuclear weapons. These are nuclear-powered submarines, as indeed China has. But we're not talking about nuclear weapons. So how is it a target?
Listen, do you really believe you can trust what Washington or even what London say? I would say the watershed moment will be if Australia is armed with nuclear submarines to be locally produced in Australia. Australia will lose that privilege of not being targeted with nuclear weapons by other countries, and that should be the wake-up call for the Australians, the 23 million Australians. Do you really want to be a target in a possible nuclear war, or you want to be free from nuclear menace going forward?
It is extraordinary, isn't it, that you're talking about nuclear war and attacks on Australia. Now, do you believe what you're saying echoes what the Chinese government believes as well, that Australia is a target?
Listen, as a general policy, Australia is not targeted with nuclear warheads right now. Why? Because it is part of the nuclear-free South Pacific region. Now, if the Australian governments want to deprive that privilege from the Australian people by going nuclear with nuclear submarines, that's the wake-up moment for the 23 million Australians. They will lose that privilege of not being targeted with nuclear warheads going forward. As simple as that. Anything you do will have a consequence. This is the most profound consequence. And Australia and the United States and United Kingdom are being accused of violating the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which is a gross violation of international law, and it will again have consequences.
Things are heating up. You know, China is basically saying what makes logical sense. Because if Australia possesses nukes, Australia is now a threat, a nuclear threat. And if Australia was to use those nukes, then Australia will get struck by those nukes. Okay? Let me read a precept or two for you. 1 second. Right, so I'm going to read everything here that's highlighted in blue, and you're going to see where I'm going with this. This is Matthew 26. I'm going to start at verse 46. It says, "Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that doth betray me. And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude with swords and staves, from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, Whomever I shall kiss, that same is he, hold him fast. And he forthwith came to Yahushua and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. And Yahushua said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Yahushua and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Yahushua stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. So, this was Peter. He drew out his sword and he struck the servant of the high priest, and he took his ear off. Then said Yahushua unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Now you got to understand there's a hidden meaning behind this. Verse 52, where Yahushua said, Put up again thy sword into his place. Meaning, if you want to hold weapons of mass destruction, you want to hold nukes, you know, you want to have nukes, then you're going to perish by them nukes. For all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. So if you possess nuclear weapons, you're going to be hit by those nuclear weapons. This is why all the elites have bunkers in New Zealand, because New Zealand doesn't have any nuclear weapons. You know, they wouldn't survive if they were in America, okay? Because America is going to be hit so hard that it's going to shake the whole earth. So this is why they have their bunkers in New Zealand and places that don't possess nuclear weapons. Okay? It's just common sense. This is Isaiah 13:5. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. So those things that are coming from a far country and from the end of heaven are the weapons of the Lord's indignation, being those ICBM intercontinental ballistic missiles. Verse 6, it says, Howl ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. So the day of this nuclear holocaust is what the Bible calls the day of the Lord. This is the day when Yahushua returns. Verse 7, it says, Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. People are going to lose their minds. It says, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. So the only ones that are getting delivered are the elect of Israel. You got to understand, this is the second death that the Bible is speaking about, because the first death was the flood of Noah, where this world was cleansed by water. This time around is the final time of the world's cleansing, and the cleansing agent will be fire. And what is going to bring that fire? It's going to be nuclear fire, because all countries that possess nuclear weapons will shoot those weapons back and forth. But the main place that will be destroyed is America. America will be totally destroyed from coast to coast, that it will shake the whole earth. So it says in verse 10, For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. So this is talking about the smoke from the destruction. Verse 11, it says, And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. So the Lord is going to send these missiles down on the nation of Edom, which is the so-called white man, and his whole civilization. The Lord is going to throw it all down. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 34. We'll start at verse 5. It says, For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is a Greek term for the nation of Edom, which is the so-called white man. It shall come down upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. So the so-called white man is the people of the Lord's curse, and the Lord is getting ready to judge them. Now, this next video I'm about to play is basically showing how they're predicting an EMP strike, which will set off what the Bible calls the time of Jacob's trouble, which is one of the plagues of the Lord, because the Lord is going to plague this place before he utterly destroys it. Okay, now check this out.
The fuck ain't nobody talking about this stuff? Because if this man is really talking about WW3, then you should know that this is gonna be the first weapon of choice. Even The Simpsons predicted it.
Maybe not tomorrow, maybe never, but it's coming, and soon.
An EMP?
You know what that means?
Hand scissors.
This woman explains the ramifications and the impact that an EMP attack would have on the U.S.
And I should say that the EMP committee, their estimate was 8 to 9 out of every 10 Americans could lose their life by the end of the first year. 500,000 people in the air at any given time on 1,000 flights, right? So that's lost. So that's 500,000 people at any moment. Very quickly after that, the SCADA systems begin to fail and you have fire, you have flood. Within 72 hours, you have meltdown at all nuclear facilities. Refrigeration has gone out at supermarkets and at the regional food warehouses. So the food supply ends. There's no access to ATMs or money or financial structure of any type. No access to your prescription medications. No access to law enforcement and no clean water and no food.
We are terrible at listening to warnings about disaster.
That's why everyone in my family has a copy of this book. You'll learn how to protect your home with the EMP shield, build your own hydro generator.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 17. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? And this is the prophet Ezra speaking, because he had a vision of this time. He was given the privilege of seeing this time that we're living in now, this time that we're approaching, which is the time that the Bible calls the time of Jacob's trouble. So he's saying, woe is me, I'm through. Who's going to deliver me in those days? It says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers, meaning the elites, shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So this is the time we're coming into. Sorrows, mournings, famine, great death, wars, and the elites building bunkers in preparation. They standing in great fear. So this is an evil time we're coming into, okay? And what will set off Jacob's trouble? An EMP, a blackout of some kind, whether it be a cyber attack, an EMP. However it plays out, Jacob's trouble is coming. There will be a loss of power, okay? Verse 19, it says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, meaning these are sent as punishments to get you right, to amend you. It says in verse 20, but for all these things they shall not return from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So people are just going to be lollygagging and doing what they do, living without a care in the world, thinking everything's going to fix itself. Not understanding that we are in the end times. Great death is coming. Now this video I'm about to play here further confirms that there will be a cyber attack. Check this out.
Hegseth just commanded cybersecurity to stop looking into cyber attacks relating to Russia. So that is both on offensive and defensive, meaning any sort of cyber attack that Russia would make to the United States government, we are not looking out for that. We are not looking into it. All of those operations have been suddenly halted, and we are not looking at any countermeasures as well as of this morning to respond against them or to make our own advances against Russia. Tim Horton has already alerted all of his subordinates of this directive.
So they're setting the stage for a cyber attack. You understand the elites are down with this. They're going to bring ordo ab chaos, which is Latin for order out of chaos. Okay. Now they're going to bring the chaos and come with the order. So they're going to depopulate the earth purposely. And then they're going to come with the order, which will be in the form of a microchip, fulfilling the prophecy of the mark of the beast.
Can you repeat yourself if you don't mind?
I'm an ex-military operator. You need to get walkie-talkies, food, and water. The cell towers will go down. The stores will close. And if you don't get it, I don't feel sorry for you. Stop.
So this is the time we're coming into. You know, an evil time, a time of evil. Because there will be a famine. Okay? Let me just prove that with scripture. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So that's going into your Walmart, your Tesco's, your Asda, your Sainsbury's, Food Lion, whatever grocery store you happen to have near you. You know, they're going to be empty suddenly. They're going to be found empty. Empty shelves. People are going to loot like crazy during that time. It's going to be survival of the fittest. It says, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. Meaning, it's a shit hit the fan scenario. Shit just got real. It says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. So your animalistic instincts are going to come out, and it's going to be survival of the fittest and every man for himself during that time. You ain't going to have no such thing as friends during that time. It says, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So there will be a lack of water. Also, verse 25, it says, whosoever remaineth of all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. Whose world? Esau's world. And the world to come is going to be ruled by Jacob. Okay, now I can prove this if we just jump down a little bit. Actually, it was a bit further up. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, meaning Esau, the so-called white man, will be ruling the world at the end of the world. And it says, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, meaning you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans who have been oppressed and trodden down by Esau during his world, you're getting ready to rule the new earth that's coming, which is an everlasting kingdom. This slum, this dump will be turned into a paradise after it's cleansed with fire. And it will be ruled by the children, the seed of Jacob. This is 2nd Ezra 16, and we'll start at 21. It says, behold, victuals, which is food, shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And that's the time we're living in now, because everybody thinks that everything's going to be okay. It says, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So people will be fighting in civil war. That's the sword. People are going to be killed by martial law troops. That's also the sword. So if you don't perish of famine, you will perish by the sword. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, meaning they won't receive a proper burial. They'll be cast out as dung in the streets. It says, and there shall be no man to comfort them, meaning giving them a funeral. It says, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. This is what Esau is going to bring upon the world, because he is a wicked ruler. Job 9:24 says that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay? So these are the people that are ruling the earth right now. The Bible calls them the wicked, and they are going to do nothing but bring chaos and death and destruction to this world because they're not the rightful rulers of the world. They stole their position, and their position is not blessed of the Lord. This is 2 Ezra 9. I'm going to start at 1. It says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So when it says that he will visit the world, that doesn't mean he's visiting this place in a friendly manner. It means he's going to plague this world with famine, death, and destruction, cyber attacks, war, all types of stuff, earthquakes, natural disasters. It says in verse 3, Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, which is worldwide protests, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So this has always been prophesied to happen. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So we can see clearly that this is the end. It's been manifest. Now I want to turn to a few more precepts because women are going to have a very hard time in the times that we're coming into. They're going to have a harder time than the men because their protection is getting ready to be taken from them. So you're going to see some very violent acts happen toward women in this world. This is part of the judgment that the Lord is coming with. This is 2 Ezra 16 and 33. It says, The virgins shall mourn having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. That's the famine and the sword that a lot of men are going to die in. And these women are going to be left without husbands because a lot of men will also be shipped off into war. They will be drafted. And also, as Zelensky said, he said that your children will have to go to war. You got to take heed to the signs. So there's going to be a shortage of men out here because a lot of them are going to die in the wars. Also, civil war. And women are going to be stuck without helpers and protectors. So they're going to go through hell during that time. It's not going to be a good time for women.
I work for a company that imports from Mexico. We import dried fruit. And as of 11:30 yesterday, no trucks are crossing the border with any imports in Mexico. And we get a lot of produce from there. So if I were you guys, I would start stocking up on as much as you can because the prices are just gonna skyrocket. Like, a lot of this business is done on a truck-to-truck basis. So more than likely, you're not going to see tomatoes, avocados, onions in the next week or so.
Now we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But this goes into the famine that's coming, proving that the words of the Lord are true. This is the time we're coming into. There's going to be food shortage.
I have good news and bad news. This grape is going to go up in value, like double the price.
It's the peak of the citrus harvest season in Kern County right now, but the industry is taking a hit after immigration agents conducted several operations last week.
By Paisanos, así se mira ahora en los traques, mira.
Look at this
Vacío.
now.
Sin ni un trabajador.
Nobody working.
I've been saying for a long time that the smartest thing Donald Trump could do when he took office is nothing. Just take credit for an economy on the rise and go fuck off and play golf and just let people hoodwinked by his economy propaganda praise him for all the post-COVID economic recovery Joe Biden's been doing for 4 years. But instead, Donald Trump's going to be a xenophobe, deport an enormous portion of our labor force, and costs are going to balloon as a result. And the people, aforementioned, hoodwinked by his propaganda, are going to look at him, hopefully, and be like, what the fuck? I thought you were gonna lower grocery prices. Grocery, the word that you made up. What happened to that?
Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Me voy tendido, me voy empinando mi bote. Un poco mareado por la bebida y el borlote. Me tiene hasta la riata la gente con su mitote. Pero me despreocupo, me pelan todo el garrote. Me para la chota, ya es por mi apariencia. Que hay tantos delitos, que hay tanta demencia.
Now, check out this other video because you women are going to have a hard time during this time.
I said, do you know what's stopping men from taking advantage of women? Other men.
Yeah.
If men agreed with you could hit a woman over the head and whoever you hit over the head and drug to your cave, that was your woman, women couldn't do a thing to stop it. So that shows you that men are more benevolent than women because women now have laws that allow them to screw men over in divorce and child support. And there's no group of women to stop it. There's no other half of women who are doing the same thing that men do, which is prevent you from being screwed over in a large amount. Again, in the Western world, men stop other men from doing things to women. Because if it wasn't for other men, men would have free reign.
Right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13 and verse 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. So during that time when the society collapses, a man will be more precious than fine gold. And not just any man. It's speaking about the men of the Lord, the ones who the Lord is protecting during that time. Because the scriptures say during famine, his servants shall laugh. So they're going to be doing just fine. And women are going to seek them for protection. This is the time we're coming into. Because the police are not going to protect you during that time. They're going to be in the same boat. So they're going to be out there doing what they got to do to survive. And they are professional kidnappers. And when there's no consequence for their action, these police officers, which most of them are psychopaths, they're going to get busy and they're going to unleash their darkest side. So you women are in big trouble during this time. This is Isaiah 32 and 2. And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So this is what's getting ready to happen. A man is going to be a hiding place from the wind, meaning the destruction. And not just any man, like I said earlier, it's going to be a man of the Lord. You're going to need a man of the Lord for protection. And when women finally learn this the hard way, feminism and pride is going to go out the window. The Lord, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, is getting ready to do a 180 on these women's mindset, on that westernized feminist mindset. This is Isaiah 4:1. It says, "In that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach." So 7 means completion. It doesn't mean exactly 7 women. It just means however many women will take hold of one man, and they will be willing to share that man during that time. Feminism and selfishness and pride, all of that is going out the window in the times we're coming into, because you women are going to realize during that time how defenseless you are and how dependent you are. You're not independent. You know, the Lord has had a hedge of protection around you women, but that hedge of protection is getting ready to be taken away because we're entering into a very evil time. Check this out.
If you ask women and girls what their main fear would be should the world end or society around them collapse, they're going to tell you that part of their fear is what men are going to do to them given the opportunity. And I think part of that is because women are walking around with the knowledge that what stops a lot of men from doing awful things to them is the idea that there might be a repercussion for them, for the man, if they were to be caught and found out, that society would know that they had done this thing, would judge them, that they would go to jail, like whatever. If you're a guy listening to this, I want you to think really carefully about some of the dudes that you know and what they would do to women and girls if they could guarantee that they would never be caught. There's a really poignant scene in The Walking Dead where one of the male characters says something like, if these guys find us, our men are going to be dead and our women are going to wish that they were. And as a former humanitarian aid worker, I was warned about this all the time. I was warned, like, if you go there and you are taken, they will kill the men, but what they will do to you is going to be so much worse. And also, as a humanitarian aid worker, I have been to countries and spoken to people who witnessed society collapse and the chaos around that because of like extreme weather events or natural phenomenon or even civil war. And the one thing that every one of those scenarios had was women and girls being raped and sexually assaulted. I went to Haiti in 2010 after the earthquake, and I also went to Pakistan after a flood happened in the same year. And in both countries, I spoke to women who were raped or sexually assaulted by men within the chaos, because men seized their opportunity to do something to these women and girls, knowing that it was highly unlikely, because it was chaotic, that they were going to be caught and held accountable for those actions. And the same thing happened when I went to Jordan a few years ago to speak to Syrian refugees. The women there told me of being raped and sexually assaulted when they were in Syria, when they were trying to escape the civil war, and also after they'd moved to Jordan and were living in refugee camps. Like, they were afraid to go to the toilet. They moved around in packs. Like, there was this knowledge in the back of their mind, like, there are men here who will seize the opportunity to do something to me because they don't feel like anything's going to happen to them as a result of doing that. Imagine being a man and only having to worry that the world might end or society might collapse, and not also having to worry about what the other gender will do to you if that happens. Like, some things are worse than death. And women are walking around with the knowledge that what keeps them safe is this tiny thread of a threat that men might pay the price if they do something like that. Once that's gone.
So as you just saw, that woman broke it down perfectly. This is what will happen when society collapses, when women aren't receiving the protection that they once relied on. You know, these securities are not always going to be. This system is going to fail you. But the only one that won't fail you is the Lord. So this is why you women have to find you a man of the Lord, which is be your protection, your covering during that time. And you don't have much time left. You know, I'm about to play you a video where recently in Congo, because there's chaos in that country right now, but a bunch of prisoners broke out. And what did they do? They immediately went to the women's prison and they raped every woman that was in the jail. And then they burnt them alive inside the jail. Okay, check this story out real quick, and then I'll bring out one more precept and we'll close this lesson out.
This is truly awful and a trigger warning. We are learning that at least 165 female prisoners were raped and then burned to death. This video shows where and when this horrifying mass rape took place. You are looking at inmates fleeing from a prison in the Democratic Republic of Congo. More than 4,000 detainees made it out that day. But before their escape, some of the men carried out the mass rape of 165 women, then set the prison alight. Most of those victims died in the fire. That's according to the United Nations. Only around a dozen female inmates who had also been raped survived the blaze. Now, fighting has been taking place in Goma as a feared and dangerous rebel group called M23 battled government troops for control of the city, which is in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. In a matter of days, the M23 rebels forcibly seized the city. Now, systematic sexual violence has plagued the Democratic Republic of Congo for decades. Now, with the conflict spiraling out of control, women and girls are yet again at risk.
And this is coming to America and the rest of the world because there's going to be a worldwide famine. There's going to be chaos, okay? This Third World War is going to spiral out of control and everyone will feel it. Nobody will be spared from the consequences of this war, especially you women. What you just saw in Congo with those prisoners is a microcosm of the chaos when this system collapses. It's about to get really ugly in this world. I don't have any good news for you. You know, the only good news I have is for the elect of Israel. They're going to make it through this. And they're going to be delivered. They're going to be saved. But the rest of you, you were born in vain. Let's prove that. So this is 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 22. It says, "Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain. And let my grape be kept, which is the elect of Israel, and my plant, which is the elect of Israel." Same thing. "For with great labor have I made it perfect." So the Lord has been cleaning up the elect of Israel, the house of David, and getting them ready for salvation, for that day of redemption. But the rest of you, you were born in vain. This is Isaiah 32, and I'm going to start at 9. It says, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease, you women that are comfortable." It says, "Hear my voice, ye careless daughters," and the voice is coming through his servants, the prophets. It says, "Give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come." All these things that keep you secure, your Section 8, your food stamps, your government assistance, this is all going to fail you. Scriptures speak about woe unto you that trust in Egypt. Egypt meaning America. You people that put your trust in this westernized system. It says, "Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins." Meaning you should be in a state of mourning and panicking. You should be scared right now. You should be humble. You should be seeking the Lord with all your might. It says, verse 12, "They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine," because all these things are getting ready to be stripped from you. All the things that keep you so confident and secure and feeling like a boss, a boss bee, they're getting ready to be stripped from you. your weave, your makeup, your jewelry, your nice clothes, your pleasant scent is going to be turned into stink. Okay, so this is the time we're coming into. All right, it's time for people to wake up and get serious. It's high time you wake up out of sleep because we don't have much time left. I'm going to close out there. Lord willing, you were edified through this lesson. I'm going to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Shalom.